welcome back to another episode of Today with Ray, the show that highlights everyday entrepreneurs. I'm here with my special guest, Charity Tuttle, owner of Be Mo Kind, and I'm super excited to get into this episode as it's kind of a homage to Valentine's Day because it's something that we should give love and kindness to, and she's going to get into it later about how this correlates. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you will know when future episodes come out. Charity, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here.
Great. I'm super excited to have you on this episode this week. Let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why it is that you became an entrepreneur.
Okay. So I'm Charity, born and raised in more the western side of North Carolina.
Okay.
And at a young age, left and went into the Air Force. So I'm a female veteran. And when I got out, went to school, got my degree, and really loved, just the creative aspect of what I was doing, and found that I wanted something that could allow me an opportunity to make more of an impact. Especially on kids. I mean, I want to make an impact for everyone.
Yeah.
But I have a soft spot for kids because I feel like they deserve a lot of opportunity that they may not be able to get. So I created Be Mo Kind. It's my apparel brand, and the whole point of that is because I want to give them more hope and opportunity. So I want to give back and just kind of reach them and do exactly that. Hopefully it is a little more philanthropic eventually, and it grows. But that's the whole goal of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that answer. And we're going to dig a little deeper in a moment. I want to stop and pause and say thank you for serving. I didn't know that you were in the Air Force.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
How long did you serve?
5 years.
Me.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I had an 8-year
I was going to say me too. I was going to say gosh, but yeah, thank you for that. Do you miss it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I had an 8-year contract, but it was like 5 years and then 3 years inactive. And I saw a lot of the world I wouldn't see otherwise.
Yeah.
I still have some super great friends that I made that you'll be friends for life.
Yep.
That's a real thing.
It really is.
I mean, just the experiences and the things I was exposed to with different cultures and the military itself. I learned a lot. I gained a lot. Leadership, problem solving, perseverance, all the things.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us, in transitioning, you said the western part of North Carolina, transitioning, when exactly did you create Be More Kind?
So I started it officially, my LLC is November of 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was living in Arizona at the time.
Okay.
Started it in 2017, and just was like, what if somebody buys a shirt? Like, what if it works? It was just an idea, but it was fun at the time and allowed me to be creative in some of the designs and just, it's a way to connect with people.
Yeah.
So either way, I wasn't going to lose. But people bought the shirts and I was like, oh, this is cool.
This is cool.
Yeah, this is awesome. So, started it there in Arizona and then relocated here February of 2020 because I decided about 4 or 5 months prior to that I really wanted it to become a real business and to really pursue it and grow it. And I knew if I wanted to put down some roots, I was hoping that North Carolina would be a good place because that's, where I'm from.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to be that, and Wilmington has been amazing. I really feel like there's been a lot of buy-in, and I'm super happy to be here and putting down those roots. Yeah,
awesome.
Love it.
Okay, so you started 2017. Kind of talk to us about how that journey was with you. What were some of the ups and downs, the challenges that you may have faced, if any, especially in a large scale of apparel? I feel like everyone kind of tries to tap into that at one point. So tell us from 2017 to present day, just your overall journey of how that was and how it's going for you right now.
Okay. So end of 2017, we'll just start with 2018.
Okay.
My friends and family supported me at first, which is amazing, and I'm very grateful for them. And I just started, I reached out and started doing markets. So I was a vendor at a bunch of markets. one of the markets I did regularly was a vegan street fair that was once a month. The vegan community has been extremely receptive to the brand. It's about kindness. It totally makes sense. You know, and it's not just kindness in one way, it's kindness in all the ways. So they were a big part of my support group, I would say, at least like starting out in the first year to 2 years. And so then there were a couple of stores, like I have a family member that owns a store in North Carolina, a friend that owns a store in Jacksonville, a friend that owned a store in Phoenix. So they all gave me an opportunity and supported me in that way. So I can't say I was probably the best at really knowing what to do once my stuff got into those stores.
Right.
So I would say that's one of the things that I've learned to be better at is, you know, what do the stores need from me as a brand and vice versa, but actually talking about that and helping them in various ways. But so I would say that was one of the learning curves, because you just kind of went in like, yay, my stuff's in a store. Now what?
Yeah.
So, and then I got up to, I don't know, like 6 locations throughout the country. And it just kind of ebbs and flows. I mean, some of those locations have closed their business. Some of those didn't really see the customer support. So understandable, like if that's not really their market. And I think that's another important thing is like, I started to learn my market and better matched with businesses.
Got it.
You know, so instead of just going anywhere, which I don't think is a bad thing in the beginning, because you clearly want to get your brand out and message out. Like there's no bad space for that. But there are obviously better fits. So I think finding those and really being more strategic. And I mean, I can't say enough about my friends and family, the connections, the stores that really don't know me but hear about the brand and call me, or you know, I walk into their store just as a consumer and then they find out and they're like, well, why don't you put your stuff here? And I'm like, that'd be fantastic. Let's do it. You know, because if I'm supporting their business, more than likely there's some kind of match there. So
I think as we talk about that, just having that real solid foundation and support system goes such a long way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into the actual message. I know you kind of tapped into it earlier about how it's about kindness overall, and especially for kids. So you can have the floor now to tell us.
All right. So the message really came from in 2017. I just felt like for my life personally, there was a lot of negativity in all kinds of regards. And I just felt like, why do I have so much negativity around me? And why does the world have so much negativity? And why, like, I see a lot of things and I'm like, we're just not those people. Like, we're better than that kind of thing. Like, so why is this happening? And what can I do about it for me? And what can I do about it for the person next to me and the person next to me and things like that? So that was one piece of it. And then the other big piece was I started to, some of my friends, you know, at this age where they had kids, they were teenagers. There were stories in the news. There were, you know, just things that for whatever reason were popping up, and I was becoming more aware and knowledgeable of youth suicide and how at that time, like 10 to 15-year-old boys were the worst, which I never would have guessed that, not knowing.
Yeah.
And I'm a veteran, and suicide is not something that's foreign to me as, you know, those types. But at the same time, I think when I think of kids and them feeling like that's the best choice, like it really breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing that kind of really triggered action on my part was my favorite human on the planet. I've always wanted a little brother. He's technically my little cousin. Love him more than anything. He was having those thoughts, and we found out, and there was like drawings in the notebook and stuff on Instagram. And so that just crushed me.
Right.
And I was like, I have to do something for for all the kids, like for anybody. And so then I started reflecting like inward, everyone has struggles when they're kids. Like, why didn't I feel that way? Why didn't I have these thoughts? Like, what was it that made me believe tomorrow's better?
Yeah.
So it really came down to like, be the person you needed as a kid. And you never know what your impact is going to do to change someone's life. And those are kind of like, that was it. And I was like, the only thing I know is kindness.
Yeah.
I just literally feel like that's the seed, and everything grows from there. I mean, respect grows from there. Support grows from there. Love. But just one little thing can totally change someone's trajectory in their whole entire life.
I think that's beautiful.
So that's, I had to say that without getting emotional.
Yeah, me too.
It's hard and it's personal. And I'm not always able to say it without that because, I think anyone that has kids or is close to kids or anyone in your life, you never want them to feel that hopeless. You never want them to feel so isolated or that there's something wrong with them. There's so many different reasons that these kids feel that. And, there's bullying in schools. There's socioeconomic differences. There's racial issues. There's sexual orientation. Like, there's all these things that people get bullied for or feel less than because of. And so Be Mo Kind is literally about starting with kindness inside yourself, because we all need it.
Right. Absolutely.
Whether we want to admit it or not. We need it. And then you just kind of have that ripple effect, let people show up as their best version and meet them there and just support them along the way.
Yeah.
So.
And if we were at church, I would just say amen and then like pass, a collection plate, because that was just a beautiful sermon in itself. And there's a lot of things going on. And I know I harp in each episode kind of how like COVID, it really added an additional layer on top of everything that's going on. And even though we're, kind of getting back to normal, I don't think that it'll ever be normal again. And I think the least that we can do is do something that's free.
Yeah.
And be kind.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not, that's another reason. Like, you start with yourself, and then literally any act of kindness, from, opening the door for someone or smiling and saying hello and acknowledge that they exist, could be just as huge as handing them $100. You never know what they need.
Absolutely.
And I think just opening that door and being able to give without expecting something in return is the best way that, I try to go about my day. Just put it out there, because it'll get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And real quick, to speak to COVID, the percentages for youth suicide were up 300% after COVID. And I can't imagine them being up 30%, much less 300%.
Gosh,
like,
that's
it blows
such a
my mind.
sad statistic.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's awful. I mean, and then there's social media, which also impacts their life big time. So, there's a lot of stresses, and I think our kids need a little more support than we might sometimes think. I don't have kids personally. Let me just say that. But I think our youth in general needs just a little bit more than maybe we see, because we tend to get really busy and distracted.
I think it's incredible that you've taken on this. I don't even have the words for it, because I'm still like trying not to cry because of hearing, your passion and behind it. But it's incredible to take up this due diligence to say, hey, I have to do something about this. And no matter how small, I know that I'm doing something that can make a difference in someone's life.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's really admirable of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I would, and I'd say, like, when I first thought of it, I'm like, I'm just one person. Like, no one's going to care if I'm nice today. Like, it's, how big is it really going to be? But I can tell you that one of the things I love to do, and I want to do more of, is speak to kids, whether it's in schools or camps or any opportunity that I can speak to them. But I can tell you specifically from almost every talk I've had, I remember at least one kid that talked to me after. I can tell you a story of one kid that when I first got there was completely uninterested. And within like 25, 30 minutes, he was asking questions.
Yeah.
So to me, when I leave those days, I'm like, yeah, this is why I'm doing it. And that is one kid, but I don't know the impact. You know, I could have just made school more interesting today than it was yesterday, or I could have, you know, stopped him from doing something later in the day. Like, you never know, and it doesn't matter.
It does not.
It matters to me that I said something to make him curious and got his brain working enough to ask questions. And I think if we allow them that space, then that's all they want. Like, they just want to be seen and heard just like we do.
Absolutely.
So
let's take a pause right here and do a shameless plug.
Okay.
If you are someone, we're here in Wilmington, North Carolina, but in the surrounding areas, Brunswick County, Pender County, and you know someone that's in the school system, I think that you should reach out. Her Charity's information will be in the description below, and that you guys link up so that she can continue this message of kindness and helping out the youth today, because if anyone needs help, it's our future generation.
Yeah. And it's our educators. I mean, they have a huge task. So even if I give them 20 minutes of relief, I'm happy to do that.
See, and that's kindness right there.
Maybe they got lunch. I don't know.
Right, or just silence.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I want to transition. I know that your brand has a mascot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about your mascot.
I don't know if you can see this or if you will, but this is a blue-footed booby.
Yeah.
So they're only found in the Galapagos, which is obviously not here, but I chose the blue-footed booby because when they see each other, they tend to do a happy dance.
Really?
And so a lot of times you'll see photos of them where there's one foot up because they're like dancing. And my initial dream when this all came about was like, what if like someone in a Detroit airport or Philly airport saw someone with a Be Mo Kind shirt and said, oh my gosh, where did you get your Be Mo Kind shirt? I go, because it just brought two people together that maybe weren't. And then who knows where that goes. But it was literally just a connector from a shirt or a brand. And so I was like, it's kind of like the happy dance from a blue-footed booby. So that's why I chose the blue-footed booby. And I think it's cool. And blue is one of my brand colors, so it worked out.
I think that's so cool. And I think it's almost like an inside joke almost. Not that anything of this is funny, but like you can recognize and be like, oh yeah, hey, I know that brand. I think that is amazing. Now, Charity, we have your t-shirts on today, and I must say this is one of the softest materials ever. And I want everyone watching to have one.
Super comfy.
Where can they find it at?
BeMoKind.com.
Okay.
Very simple. BeMoKind.com. Or if you're local, Kalethy Living off of Market behind the Chick-fil-A, they sell my stuff. And Port City Power Yoga on 16th and Market Street, they have some of my merchandise. And in Supply, North Carolina at Lockwood Folly Market, they have some merch there as well. So those are the brick and mortars right now. I'm always looking for more. So if you have a retail shop that wants to partner with Be Mo Kind, I would love that. I'd be super grateful.
Yeah.
But yeah, BeMoKind.com is one of the best places to check it out. And then you can see everything we have. Because the brick and mortars don't have everything.
Right.
I try to have different stuff at those. To just, so it's not just the same thing everywhere.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Got it. And we brought up social media, and, there's positive and negative impacts, but I also want you to list just real quick what your, Facebook and Instagram, so that they can follow you and get more information.
Okay, sure. On Facebook, it's Be Mo Kind. Search it. You'll see the blue-footed booby. That's it. On Instagram, it's at BE_MO_kind. So at Be Mo Kind on Instagram. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't have a BMO kind on LinkedIn or anything. So
Okay.
yeah, Facebook and Instagram are the ways to find me on social.
Cool.
Yeah.
And they will all be listed in the description below. I have 2 last questions for you before we get into the speed round.
Okay.
We talked a lot about your mission, and my next question to you is, how can the community help you?
I think, like you mentioned, any kind of connections with educators, schools, camps, any kind of camps, sports camps, music camps, art camps, all the camps, like any opportunity that I can get in front of a group of kids, I feel like, whether it's 10 kids or 100 kids or, endless amount, it doesn't matter to me. I've spoken to kindergartners and up to 8th grade right now. So I think just any opportunity, making those connections would be great. And obviously supporting the apparel. Whenever you purchase apparel, 10% of the sale goes back to a nonprofit with a simultaneous mission. I do a lot of work with Stand for the Silent. They are a nonprofit based out of Oklahoma. 2 people started that lost their 11-year-old son to suicide. And they do wonderful work. I think they're in 18 countries now.
Wow.
And I'm actually working with them right now to start a local chapter here.
Okay.
Because in the last 6 months, the president of that organization has received more phone calls from North Carolina and South Carolina asking for him to come and speak and help than any other area. And so he asked me if I would start a chapter. So I'm working on that. Definitely need some people to help, so if anyone's interested, any of those things or getting involved, there are ways to do that. And I would love to collaborate. So that's another way to support me. And that's it. I literally think just speaking to the kids and selling apparel so we can give back and do more and reach more is the key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then my last question for you is, what advice would you give to someone that would be an entrepreneur?
There's a lot to it. You should know this. My advice would be, there's a lot to learn and it's gonna take some time, and that's okay. Like I mentioned before, not really knowing how to work with the stores best and being a real benefit to them when I first started was something that I had to learn. And I think I'll continue to learn, because every store is kind of different, every region's different, there's always going to be differences, but overall, just know that there's a lot to it. There's a lot of business that happens behind the scenes, from financial to admin to marketing, all those things. So if it were just designing cool t-shirts, it would be even more fantastic. But there's a lot that goes to it. So don't stress about going fast.
Okay.
And don't think you have to wait to take action when you know everything, because you'll never know everything.
That's absolutely true.
So I literally think those 2, if I would have digested those earlier, I would at least been a little more peaceful along the journey.
I think that's incredible advice.
So, yeah.
Well, again, you heard it first from someone who's doing it currently. Are you ready for the speed round?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I'm ready.
These are going to be just quick answers that tell me the first thing that comes to your brain. Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Ready.
If you were a superhero, what would be your superpower?
Flying.
Really?
I'm obsessed with flying.
Really?
I always have been. I love flying. Like, I don't even know why I don't do something professionally with flying. Skydiving, it was like the best day of my life. I just want to fly so bad.
Okay, flying.
Yeah.
What is your favorite form of a potato?
So I don't eat meat, so potatoes are huge in my life. I'm going to say my favorite form of a potato, as simple as it is going to be mashed potatoes.
That's a solid answer.
Mashed potatoes, if they're done right.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
And I think that there's a lot of the gamut on mashed potato is vast. So mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. All right. Scenario. you make plans, it rains the night of your plans. Do you still go out or do you cancel and stay inside?
I'm probably still gonna go. I may not be as eager and excited about it, but I'm still gonna go because a lot of times I feel like if you push yourself past that discomfort or doubt moment, it always ends up fun.
Okay.
Yeah, like it always ends up good. So I'm still gonna go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay home. Just so you know, if you ever try to make plans with me and it rains, I'm staying home.
If it snows though, different story.
Oh God.
No.
Definitely not. I hate snow.
Yeah.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Top Gun.
Really?
Yeah.
What about the last one?
Yeah,
Did you
I
cry?
loved it. I cry all the time.
Oh.
I cry like all the movies. I love rom-coms.
Okay.
Top Gun is my favorite though.
Top Gun.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got for
I'm
it.
sensitive.
And that's why you spread so much kindness.
Yeah, I'm like, well, it's all about, like I said a million times, it comes from within you. And so I think on my own journey to be my most authentic, it was like, well, it's going to be a sensitive thing. It's got to be love and kindness.
See?
Here we are. So.
And I told you it was going to tie into Valentine's Day because
it is.
Love and kindness go a long way.
Yeah.
I want to thank Charity for being on this week's episode. And you've heard her heart, literally. So this is why you should support a local business. I'm Rhema T. Bye.